Hello guys, welcome to my video on using multiple transformations to graph a function. Now, to graph a function requiring multiple transformations, use the following order. 1. The horizontal shift. 2. Apply the horizontal or vertical stretch or shrink. 3. Perform the reflections either across the x-axis or the y-axis or both. 4. The vertical shift. Now, it's best to point out that not all these graphs will have all these transformations and translations, but it's up to you to correctly identify the translations and then after that perform the indicated operations. Now, let's graph the function y equals -2 times x minus 1 squared plus 8. And let's identify the parent function. And the parent function in this case is going to be y equals x squared, denoted by the exponent. So we're going to quickly sketch that graph. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Negative 1, 1, negative 2, 4. Okay, so we know it's going to be a parabola. Now we're going to identify the first type of translation that we need to, which is to see if there's a horizontal translation. And in this case, yes, there is. There is a horizontal translation. And to determine if you have a horizontal translation, look for a variable that's being added or subtracted from the value of x, from the variable x. And there's a number being subtracted from x, which is 1. So that means we're going to shift y 1 unit to the right. Because remember, when it is f of x minus h, when the function is in the form of this, you're going to shift that graph f of x h units to the right when there's a value being subtracted from x. Keep that in mind. So now we're going to do that. We're going to move every x coordinate, well, every coordinate rather, 1 unit to the right. So that goes here. This coordinate goes here. That coordinate goes here. The coordinate goes here. And that goes here. Okay. I'm going to now erase the parent function. Next, we want to try to identify if there is any sort of horizontal stretches or shrinkage. If a horizontal stretch or shrinks, there is a value that's being multiplied to the variable of x. And there is no number being multiplied to the variable of x. For the vertical stretch or shrink, that's be a number that's being multiplied to the function itself, to the parabola. And there is a value that is being multiplied to the function. And values being multiplied to the function, to the function is going to be -2. And if you notice, there is also a negative on the outside of the function. So this covers 2 types of transformations. So because there's a number on the outside of the function, we're going to multiply each y value by 2. And because there's a negative sign also on the outside of the function, we're going to reflect y over the x-axis, which means we're going to change the sign of each y coordinate. And that goes back to first going to the vertical stretch and the vertical shrinks. When there's a number on the outside of the function, you're going to stretch that vertically by a factor of a, and that's multiplying each y value by a. But also there is a negative sign on the outside of the function as well, which means that's a reflection across the x-axis, thus changing the sign of all the y values. So I'm going to take care of two birds at the same time. I'm going to multiply each of the y coordinates by 2 and then change its sign. And that's going to take care of these two in tandem. So this coordinate right here is 1, 0. We're going to multiply the y coordinate by 2. If I multiply this y coordinate by 2, well, by 2, it's going to be 0. 0 times 2 is 0. And 0 is neutral, so that point stays the same. Now, when it comes to the next point, this point right here is going to be 2, 1. We're going to multiply the y coordinate here by 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. And then we're going to change the sign because it's a reflection over the x-axis. So that becomes -2. So now we have the coordinate of 2, -2. This coordinate here is going to be 3, 4. The y coordinate is 4. So we're going to take that 4 and multiply it by 2, which is 8. And then after that, we're going to change the sign to -8 because the reflection over the x-axis. So that's going to be 3, -8. This coordinate here is -1, 4. Do the same thing. Take that y coordinate, multiply it by 2. Change the sign because it's a reflection across the x-axis. That's going to be -1, 8. -1, -8, excuse me. And then for the last one, that coordinate is going to be 0, 1. Take the y coordinate, multiply it by 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. Change the sign of that. That becomes -2. So now we have 0, -2. Now I'm going to clear everything else that we don't need anymore, at least as of right now. And to do that one more time, make sure you're getting rid of nothing valuable. Okay. Now we have one more thing to take care of, because we have the +8 on the outside, and that represents a vertical shift. And when there is a value being added to the function, we're going to shift that function upward by that many units. So now we're going to shift y up 8 units. So every point will be shifted up 8 units. Let's use red. So this point of -1, 0 will be shifted up by 8 units. And that will be 1, 8. 0, -2 will be shifted up by 8 units. That will be 0, 6. -1, -8 shifted up 8 units. That will be -1, 0. Because now each coordinate is being shifted up 8 units. -2 will become 2, 6. Shifted up 8 units. And 3, -8 will shift up 8 units to become 3, 0. And now I can connect my coordinates. Nope, let's redo that. And erase anything else that we don't need anymore. And this is my graph. Y equals to negative 2, x plus, well, x minus 1, my apologies, x minus 1 squared plus 8. So, once you guys identify and you guys feel comfortable performing all the transformations and translations, this will take you no more than, I'd say, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to graph this. But you must be comfortable with these, and you must be comfortable with everything else that is here so far. Alright guys, that is it. I'll see you soon.